Guys, and welcome to episode 11 of Skins in the Game, where John and Tim talk about what's going on in the DC sports world. And we got bad news yesterday. Bad news. But before we get into that, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
You doing all right?
It's summertime. It's summertime, and I'm above ground, so
There you
everything's
go.
good.
Well, I decided to get not literally everything, I got more, trust me, but as much Redskins paraphernalia as possible. We even got some shorts. We got some boxers. We got some socks and shoes. Both the shoes too. The Redskins logo here. Redskins written on the side. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's kind of hard to see. But yep, I broke everything out for after this bloody Monday that we had yesterday. And let's get into it now. And we have yesterday, July 13th, 2020, is a rough day where we have officially caved to the PC police. And the team name is going to change. I'll bring it up here. On July 3rd, we announced that the commencement of a thorough review of the team's name. That review has begun in earnest, and as a part of this process, we want to keep our sponsors, fans, community apprised of our thinking as we go forward. Today, we are announcing we will be retiring the Redskins name and logo upon completion of this review. Dan Snyder and Coach Ron Rivera are working closely to develop a new name and design approach that will enhance the standing of our proud tradition, rich franchise, and inspire our sponsors, fans, and community for the next 100 years.
Yeah, you notice how sponsors were first, weren't they?
Sponsors were first everywhere. That is true.
Right.
Because that is what got the name changed. It was not us. It was not groups or anything like that. It was the fact that, like, at least not in Dan Snyder's mind. I guess you could say that they obviously had a huge part in it because they got the other people to boycott the Redskins. But it wasn't until people like Nike, FedEx, and Amazon and places like this.
I'm sorry, but you said boycott. I don't know of anybody that has boycotted the Redskins to the point that it affected them beyond the fact that the team sucked and people stopped showing up. I don't know of nobody that I know were boycotting the Redskins. So it was.
Well, no, but I'm talking about Nike has boycotted them. They're not selling any of their gear. Amazon, Walmart, like all these people have taken all of Redskins gear and paraphernalia or anything like that off the shelves, off the websites. So there has been a boycott.
Yeah, I get that.
But there's definitely, I mean, fans have still loved the team, other than what you said is that we've just sucked for so long.
Well, I'm not sure that, and I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sure you call that a boycott. I think you call that a sponsor trying to protect themselves and feeling like they might get a boycott if they continue to support it. But there's been no boycott, as far as I know, of Redskins gear. Like, I don't think Nike removed the Redskins gear from their site because their sales were being affected. They were trying to make a social statement, and I think FedEx is the same thing. I don't think anybody stopped using FedEx because they sponsored the Redskins. So there had been no boycotts that I'm aware of, certainly not to the point that it affected the team.
Well, obviously some people have boycotted it, but I agree that, I mean, Redskins have a loyal fan base. They have plenty of people purchasing their gear, purchasing their stuff. I mean, clearly, basically my entire Christmas and birthday or whatever is Redskins
wedding.
Wedding. Yeah, is Redskins related, and somehow everybody knows that. All right, I don't care what it is. If I get Tim something Redskins related, he's gonna like it. It doesn't matter. So obviously there's people still purchasing it, but there have been clearly boycotts. I mean, there's a lot of people that have not purchased Redskins stuff because of the name. Like, and even Redskins fans, like some Redskins fans have decided not to purchase any more gear until they change the name. Maybe they still support the team just because they like the guys on the team and they like the history. They just don't like the name. So, and like some people have talked about how, I mean, similar to you and I, but their relationships with their dad or relationships with their kids or relationships with their, you know, grandfather or whatever. Like, this is something that they bonded over for years. So they're not going to hate the team because it's been a point of connection, but they would rather see the name changed.
Look, I had friends well, acquaintances is probably more accurate, that showed up in the gate at the game. I have season tickets, so I go to every game.
Mm-hmm.
Showed up at the game, and we had a debate on them telling me that it was time to change the name. And I looked at both of them, and they both had Redskins jerseys on. And I said to them, I said, if you think it's time to change the name, then why are you wearing Redskins jerseys? And the response was basically, well, I'm waiting for somebody to tell me that it's a bad thing. But they both have custom Redskins jerseys and are arguing with me that it's time to change the name. And it's like, if you showed up without a Redskins jersey on, then maybe I'd listen to your opinion. But don't sit here and tell me it's offensive, and yet you still wear your Redskins gear to the game. So is it offensive to you, or are you just waiting to be told what you're allowed to do or what you should do? I think
mean,
is more accurate.
yeah, that is definitely a certain group of people's mindsets that I'm not going to get political on. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we're not going to go down the
Nope.
political road.
Nope.
This
But
is we are burying a team that has meant a lot to me, and I know maybe you hold it against me, but when you were very young, I convinced you that hometown teams are worth following, and I know throughout the years you've mentioned to me that why did I do that to you?
obviously in jest, because I'm a glutton for punishment, as you could say. Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I've gone to many games as well, traveled to go to games, and they find a way to disappoint me more often than they get me excited. But they have gotten me extremely excited in a lot of games. Obviously, one of the best ones was that 24-0 comeback over Tampa Bay. That you like that game.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's I was at that game when it happened, and it was like it was so cool to be there to watch it. I've never gone to a playoff win. I've gone to 2 playoff games, and both of those were losses. But
No, actually, I think the last playoff win that I watched was at my niece's wedding.
mm-hmm,
Um,
2005.
her husband was a Tampa Bay fan, and the Redskins beat Tampa Bay in the playoffs, and they actually had TVs throughout the reception. Like, but I don't think my niece cared about it, but her husband was like, "I want to be able to watch the game."
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they had all of them. That was funny. They did have a. I remember that. Obviously, I was relatively young. What was I? 12 when that wedding happened,
yep.
or about to turn 12,
Or
something like
yeah,
that.
you would, yeah, because it was in January. It was early,
Mm-hmm.
so in the year. So yeah, you were almost 12. But
Right, but
I I will say, I just want to say this, that
yep.
um I'm an eternal optimist, and I know we had this conversation earlier, and I'd heard a guy on Sports Talk saying that a normal time frame for changing a uniform and or a logo, notwithstanding a name, is
Mm-hmm.
2 years. So I'm hoping, and again, against all hope, because I'm not convinced it's going to happen, but I think Dan or the Redskins statement basically said we're retiring it, but we're not changing it right now. So there's a good chance that in the 2020 season, to whatever extent we get that, they're going to
Mm-hmm.
be the Redskins. And maybe, just maybe, in 2 years from now, when all this craziness is past, that Dan Snyder might come back and might say, you know what, after further consideration, we're not changing the name at all. I'm not going to place any money on it, but until I actually see the name and the uniform, I'm not convinced that he's not playing an angle. And that's what I'm going
Yeah,
to
everybody talks about like 5 years or 6 years ago or whatever it was when like things started to really ramp up again to change the name that apparently was going to go to court and everything, that somehow that case just never went anywhere. Like it just all of a sudden stopped, and it just nobody took it any further. I do know that around that same time though, the Supreme Court ruled on I believe it was some sort of Asian band named the Slants, and people were saying that it should not, like, that should not be a thing because it's obviously talking about their eyes, and it's a racial derogatory thing talking about somebody, the way somebody looks. And that band took it to all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that their name was legal. It was fine. Like, nobody can take your trademark away. Like, that's fine. Like, it should not. It's not against the law. So there was that kind of silenced a lot of people at the time, because the Supreme Court basically just ruled on a very similar case and in favor of what the Redskins would also get. You would assume that if it went to the Supreme Court based on precedent, that the Redskins should be fine. Right. I don't think it's ever going to be a court thing again anyway, but I do think that if they don't change the name, it's not a matter of people boycotting it. I think that the NFL, like, the next step is the NFL threatening to kick us out.
Well, and I don't think they can do. I understand your point, but I don't think they can do that. One thing I wanted to add is there's a guy I listen to that does. I call it a podcast because I don't know what else to call it, but he does a daily thing, and he said that what's so ignorant about the position today is 80 years ago when Washington, and I know he's a renowned racist. I completely jumped Preston, yeah, George Preston, basically had a council or a group of people that he brought in, that they were moving the Boston Braves to Washington, and he brought in a group of people that included Native Americans material, but no, that
but
basically
he had a council.
They had a council 80 years ago that brought in people to discuss what he wanted to change the name to make it Washington's Team, and had Native Americans. He had a bunch of different people in this council and wanted to know, what is the name you want to call it? And the Native Americans in the group agreed that the Redskins was the best name to call it over the Braves. So they wanted to, so it wasn't just some haphazard decision to call, oh, let's call it the Redskins and paint some Redskin warrior logo on the side and disparage Native Americans. He, even, like I said, even a renowned racist or a famous racist wanted to get people's opinions and wanted to do it in a way that didn't offend anybody. And then, to your point, which you've said before, you had a Native American design the logo, a Native American wrote the song, and yet now, 80 years later, we have people, and I know there's some Native Americans that are involved in it, but the overwhelming majority of it is the white people that are going to show the Native Americans how not to be abused. And we're going to make this awful team change their name because them having the name Redskins will make you lose sleep at night, make you think less of yourself.
Well, I do want to say this, because there's some misinformation going around that the white man created the term Redskins to degrade the Native Americans, right? And so Hogs Haven did some research into this, and they found I don't know if it was called an article or what you would actually call it, a short document basically, from a guy named Ives Goddard, a Smithsonian senior linguist who wrote an article, dug into the history of the term Redskins or Redskin, and found that the Native Americans were the one to create the term to distinguish themselves between the new Europeans coming to the country.
Which they called pale faces.
Pale faces, yep. Another. This one also talks about the white skins, or so because he's also a linguist, so he obviously can looks to translate things and goes into the deep of like what's going on into different languages. So this is what he concluded at the end. The word Redskins reflects a genuine Native American idiom that was used in several languages, where it grew out of an earlier established and more widespread use of red and white as racial labels. This terminology was developed by Native Americans to label new categories of the new ethnic and political reality that they confronted with the coming of the Europeans.
Yep.
So a lot of people, as I said, think that, oh, wait, this was a term made by the Redskins. I don't even like talking about him anymore. But Shannon Sharp on Undisputed with Skip Bayless talked about, oh, people don't like to get rid of things they created. When they created it, they don't like to get rid of it. So they created this name to disparage people, and they don't want it to get rid of it. It's like, no, you didn't do any of your research. Okay, I'm sick of people telling me do my research. Go look at you. I've been told this now twice by two different people, and one of them I love very much, but it doesn't matter. But I'm bringing facts to this conversation. I'm bringing facts. You're just bringing opinions. And I'm looking at I'm like, you read an article on the internet you don't even know who wrote it. And now you've brought facts to this thing where your facts doesn't even make sense. Like, to me, I've told him this too. It's like, one of the things was the Native American, or the Redskins name came from white people, or what, like the Europeans that came over and decapitated in Native Americans and saw the blood.
Scalped them. Yeah.
Well, he said decapitated. I didn't read his article, but this is what he was saying. Decapitated Native Americans and watched the blood run down their skin and called them Redskins based on their blood running down their skin, which to me made no sense. Yeah,
that's absurd.
It made no sense. Like, that this word derived from basically some idiot that cut off a dude's head and was like, look, his skin's red. We should call him Redskins. And now we know this 200 years later, 300 years later, whatever it's been, as this is what we call them because of that. So
no, it was in typical human history that people differentiate themselves. And to the Indians, the Europeans were pale faces, and to the Europeans, the Indians were Redskins. And that's how they differentiated themselves. And I'm sure through history that Europeans disparaged Redskins, and they didn't disparage them because they're red skin. They disparaged them because they were different.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea that the American Indian or Native American, sorry, American Indian is politically incorrect, but the Native American was offended by the fact that they had reddish skin is absurd. It's like, it is a ploy right now to control. There's nobody, it's like, what have we accomplished? Who have we helped?
Well,
so the Redskins are going to change their name. Whose life does that make better?
So it's that, like, the control word might, like, turn some people off, and like, a better way to think that I think, you can correct me if you don't think this is better, that I've come to think of it, is that basically there's two sides, right? And you pick your team, and once you've picked your team, it doesn't matter anything else. So it's like, people looked at this and it's like, oh, red skin, that's clearly racist. So I'm on this team. And now they're just jumping on that bandwagon. And now they want this team to win. Not because this team winning means anything. It's just, I want to win. Just like me and you root for the Redskins. Not because if the Redskins wins our life changes, or by some God comes down from the heavens and was like, haha, you have now won, or something like it's not. That's not why we root for them. It's just because we picked a team. We've put a lot of passion, thought, interest into this team, and we want to see them win. And
yeah, but we're not. But Tim, we're not talking about fandom here. We're talking about people that are, to whatever group that they are saying that the team we root for is disparaging a race of people and are hurting people, and therefore the fact that we can accept that name means that we are inconsiderate and have no feelings towards the people that are being hurt by it. It's not a matter of whether or not we root for them. I mean, yes, we root for the Capitals just as passionately.
No, and my point is, I don't think they actually care about that. They don't care about any of that. They've just picked a team and they want to see that team win. I'm not talking. I was just using the example as us rooting for the Redskins. No, I'm talking about now the two teams that are playing are keep the name and not keep the name. They've decided to be on not keep the name team, and all they care about is winning this game. And they want to beat the keep the name team, right? So they don't care about any facts. They don't care about anything. Like, my favorite one I think I brought up last week is, oh, well, Native Americans find this offensive. And then they see the poll that says 9 out of 10 Native Americans don't care about the name and don't find it offensive. And actually the most popular term to come out of that is the word proud, is actually how they felt about the name. They don't read that and go, oh, well, that changes my opinion on it. It's like, no, wait, hold on, that thing's wrong. This is why it's wrong. We gotta go look at. No, see, they didn't do enough people. We gotta dig in. It's like, no. That thing's bullcrap. Who cares, right? It's because, oh wait, that article just scored a point against my team. Now that article made me mad, and I don't care about what the facts are. I just care about, I want my team to win, so I gotta go look to how to score points on my team. And that's your control. Like, control kind of makes it seem like maybe a little bit more evil or more with malintent.
Well, it's not. It's not evil, but let me ask you this.
Yeah.
The high school team that I brought up last week or a week ago or 2 weeks ago? I'm sorry, time's blending together with this whole stay-at-home stuff. But the high school that I brought up that had 98% Native Americans, who had Redskins as their mascot, how many people were on national TV and lining up in front of them to change their name? They weren't. And why? Because they're nobody. We're talking about a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar corporation that people look at. They have some jealousy. They think, oh, look at this. We have these rich people making money, and oh, we need to hate them. And now they're going to come back and say, oh, well, the name that you have is offensive. And I know there's Native Americans. There's one guy that's particularly outspoken, which I think he's ridiculous. But the polls, as you pointed out earlier, have repeatedly said that the overwhelming majority of the Native American population in this country are not bothered by the name. Why is it now that in this whole crap that's going on, that now they've got FedEx and Nike backing on? Do you think that Native Americans are not buying FedEx and Nike stuff, or not shipping FedEx and buying Nike because they have Redskins?
Yeah.
No, it's just you have people that they see a juggernaut or a powerhouse of a business, and they want to see if they can get them to change their name. And I guarantee you that, yep, great, you've got a victory. you know what? Next week, next year, 6 months from now, whatever, they're going to come up with another target, and they're going to have another reason why another big corporation needs to kowtow to them. They're not fighting the little guys, because that has no.
Yeah. They just want to win the game. They just want to score points for their team.
But no, they want to score points against powerful people. It is not scoring points for their team. It is scoring points against someone that I think a lot of people look at the NFL and think, man, they make billions of dollars. And, it's just like, and I'm going to shift gears a little bit, but it's just like the Masters, who Augusta was a bunch of good old boys that only let men join. And I think most women didn't care. It was a golf club that there was a lot of people with a lot of money that had their playground. And Martha Burks, who would never in her wildest dreams be invited to be a member of Augusta. There's ex-presidents that wouldn't be invited to Augusta. Augusta is money. They have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Money I will never have. And it's like, look, you guys got your playground. Go enjoy it. Martha Burks said, oh, so you don't allow women members. It's like, so she fought and fought and fought. And I think now that, was it the president of CBS, or I don't know which news organization, they've actually invited a woman that's got a lot of money. And look, it's just their playground. And that bothered people because there's a lot of money there. The one year that Martha Burks started saying boycott their sponsors, their answer was, okay, this year we won't have any sponsors. We'll just cover it ourselves. And they had zero sponsors because they have that much money.
Right.
And people are bothered by that. And they want to justify it with saying, oh, well, they're making deals behind closed doors. It's like, you know what? They're not making any deals. They're playing golf on the weekends, and they are having a good time with other guys that think like they do. And they're just, now you invite women into it, and it's like, oh, hold on. Now I got to watch what I say. I got to watch how I act. And it was just attacking something that was monolithic. And that's the only thing. That's the reason why they're attacking the Redskins.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with the concussion thing. I'd said that in, sorry, I know I'm rambling, but I saw an article that said there are more concussions in soccer than there is in football. They didn't attack soccer in this country. I know abroad in Europe where they can't touch them, they blow away the amount of money football makes.
Mm-hmm.
But in this country, they didn't attack soccer. They attacked football.
Yeah.
And people were questioning me going, really? More concussions in soccer? It's like, yeah, read about it. I've read about it.
Yeah.
But no one
But there's also
attacked them.
Yeah, and I've heard that stat as well. But clearly what made the NFL is not necessarily money. It's, I mean, of course they have money, but it's like you see that big hit and the dude is like laying on the ground dead or whatever. Like, and you just saw a man basically almost murder another man. And that's a visceral image, right? That it makes you want to be like, oh my God, that needs, no. It makes some people that way anyway, right? And so that's another reason why, of course, they attacked football, is because it's obviously extremely evident. Like, hold on, wait a minute, that looks dangerous, that looks scary, rather than if you actually watch soccer, it looks like people just prancing around.
Hold on a second, and I understand what you're saying, but I have two things to say to you: boxing and MMA.
Boxing
why don't
and
they?
MMA?
Why don't they attack MMA? I've seen much worse, bothersome videos that I've watched of a guy getting totally obliterated And why are they not attacking them? Because MMA is not worth billions of dollars. They can't get a lot of money out of it.
Yeah,
right?
and I'm not saying that their money has nothing to do with it, right? Because if somebody's making money, then a lot of them can get jealous about that. But it's also more like they probably don't watch a lot of fighting or see a lot of fighting, like in just happenstance, right? Like there's not as much fighting going on in some of the bars they go to or whatever. There's not as much like, but if you go there on a Sunday in the fall or winter, you're seeing a football game on 12 TVs at all times. Even if there's maybe there's a crazy fight going on, like Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Maybe that's a fight that was way across the TV. But of course, there's no hitting in a Mayweather fight. You just see a dude running around. So yeah, you don't really get that visceral reaction from that kind of fight. But every Sunday you see a hit is like, holy crap.
All right, well, I'm just going to say this. The only MMA I've ever seen is on TVs and bars. I have never turned MMA on in my house.
As I said, I'm not saying that it's not on MMA, but if it's just some undercard fight, they might have it on, if they have 12 TVs, they might have it on 3. And that person's probably not watching the fighting one because they don't care about the fighting one. They're watching, the one that has CNN on it or something. I don't know. Like they have something else on TV.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's not
but again, I will say,
across beat-ups, 57 TVs of football surrounded me.
Okay, but I will say this. My last point of it, I think we've talked about this long enough, but my last point is there is not one professional NFL player that ever had a gun pointed to his head to go out and play this game. They play the game because they can make millions of dollars, just like boxing. People box because they can make millions of dollars. MMA, they do it because they can make a lot of money. And there's not one person in the NFL that has ever felt like the NFL is forcing them to play and put themselves in danger. Every single one of them is free to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
You know why they don't? Because they can make a lot of money. And then when something happens, then they want to blame the NFL for it. It's like, no, we have a stage.
Yep. Yeah, we have definitely gone on some tangents here, which is fine. It's what happens sometimes. But bringing it back, it sucks to see that the Redskins are saying that they're going to change their name.
You're reeling it in.
Yeah, we're very sad about it. And it does suck. It really does. It's a name that we've loved for so long. It sucks. What the worst part about it? I'll just say that the worst part about it is that, like, from now on, when we wear our stuff or talk about our Redskins or anything, like, there's going to be more and more people viewing us as racists because of this craziness that has been surrounding, where it's like, if you want to keep the name, you're a racist, and now if you don't let the name die, you're a racist. Where I definitely
have a bias against Native Americans because the Washington Redskins team is my favorite team, and it's because I hate Native Americans.
Yeah.
So bring it.
But it's just gonna be like, and this is gonna be validating to them, where they're like, see, I told you it was racist. That's why they changed the name. They wouldn't have changed the name if it wasn't racist. It's like they wouldn't have changed the name if people didn't pull out. If people didn't say, all right, well, my $150 million ain't coming to you. Oh, my whatever, all those sales that you could get from uniforms, from my website, from my equipment that I make, you're not getting that. Like, it's not because somebody proved it was racist and now we're changing it. It's only changing it's because some people with enough money have decided to change it, and it's not racist.
And I'll give you a parallel. John Thompson was talking to Charlie Casserly about the Rooney Rule in the NFL, that they had to interview at least one black coach, and John Thompson was chastising Charlie Casserly, going, Well, if the NFL didn't think there was a problem, they would have never instituted the Rooney Rule. And I'm saying, no, they didn't have to think there was a problem. They instituted the Rooney Rule to shut up the people that were complaining about the fact that they were claiming they were racist in coaches hiring. So they weren't, it wasn't an acknowledgement of a problem. It was an appeasement to a group that was saying, okay, you know what? You think we're not being fair to them? All right, we'll put a rule in that says we have to rule at least one coach of color. And his response, John Thompson's response was, oh, well, they wouldn't have done that if they didn't think there was a problem. It's like, no, they would have exactly done it
because of money coming out of their pockets. That's
yeah, yep.
That's the truth. And
All right, so where are we going next? I think
Yep.
we have beat this dead horse into the ground.
yeah, I knew we were going to talk about that for quite a while. You know, it's a sad day, but now that it is according to this thing, I guess maybe not in your mind, but it seems like it's basically official that the name will be gone. Is now that we have to rename the team of what we want to see the name be outside of it. Do you have a preference?
No, and I do agree. Or I have to be in full disclosure. I want whatever the name is to fit the "Hail to the Redskins" song. So I am of the belief that whatever the name is, whether it's Red Hawks, I don't like Red Tails. Red Hogs, I've heard. I don't like Red Hogs. I think if we have to accept something, I'm thinking Red Hawks, because we can say "Hail to the Red Hawks," and I just think that the name has to be something that fits in with the song.
All right, so I've thought about this for a while now, and I'm complete agreement with you. Red Tails is a heck no, like absolutely not. I do not want the Red Tails, and it has nothing to do with the Tuskegee Airmen. That's cool. That's a cool angle to go down. And when somebody first told me about it, it's like to represent the Tuskegee Airmen. I was like, at first I thought, oh, that's a fine name. Like that could be a cool idea. But the more I've looked into this and thought about it, this would be a travesty. It would be so bad. Starting with, and this is crazy. It's Red Tails is a men's spanking magazine. They still write magazines, and it is like pictures of like naked butts with people with paddles spanking men with big
maybe we
red
can make
butts.
That work with the Redskins. If the Redskins got good, they'd be spanking the other team. So maybe we could make that work.
It's already an easy way to make fun of us just off the bat because the team in Washington walked with their red tails between their legs, or their red tail or something like that. Like, oh, the other team made their tails red, or whatever the case may be. Like,
no, I agree with you.
It's I didn't like that name when I first started. Super easy way to make fun of us. And then one of the funniest ones, I guess, if you could say this, is it's obviously meant to represent African American pilots, right? Well, wait until someone down the road equates it to a slave's backside after they've been whipped. Yeah. That will play. Coming. Oh, that would play extremely well in these, I want to attack everything people. And I do just want to get away from race. I just don't want anything to do with race. I don't want any more Native American names. I don't want any other races' names. I just want let's go with an animal. I guess that's or something like that, or something else. Like, I don't want it to be political. I don't want it to be anything else. But anyway, another thing is, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I still like the potatoes, but they're not gonna go with
potatoes. I know you said it. Warriors is another front running thing, I do not want the Warriors.
Oh,
Immediately,
Golden State. Yeah,
yeah, immediately we're overshadowed by them, the Golden State Warriors. Like, Golden State Warriors are, what, a 3-time champion in 5 years or 4 years or whatever it's been. Like,
yeah, something like that.
5 years, yeah. Like, immediately we're overshadowed by them. No, I do not want to be the Warriors. There's other silly ones in my opinion, like bring back the Senators or be the Monuments. Like, no, I don't want any of, like, I think those are silly because I, like you, want a name that starts with an R as well.
Yeah.
But I also just don't like these ideas, period. You said the Red Hawks. I don't like the Red Hawks because that would be too close to the Seahawks.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, I don't want to be, like, I don't want to be treading on somebody else's professional team's water. You know, like, I don't want to be fighting with them in a sense of like, all right, which team is the real Hawks or whatever. I don't like.
What about the Red Bulls?
The Red Bulls? Yeah. Hail to the Red Bulls.
We can mix it with a little Jaeger and do Jaeger bombs, or that could be the special at the stadium is, cherry bombs, and it's all liquor mixed with Red Bull, and Red Bull gives you wings. So
it's an idea that I'm not behind.
It's not a good one. I'm being sarcastic right now.
But no, another really popular one most people have heard about now is the Red Wolves. And the more I think about it and the more I look into it, I think I really enjoy the Red Wolves. Like,
yeah, that's not bad. I can get on that.
The pack mentality to play as a team, like that's how Wolves go to war, is with their team, with their pack. Like, it could be a play on that. The entire stadium howling whenever something goes well could be a fun thing for the fans to get behind.
Yeah.
It even could change up the HTTR a little bit with howl to the Redskins.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And then you could put a little bit more wolf-based things into the lyrics of the fight song. So keep the music the same, but maybe a little bit more wolf-based ones. And then the designs are extremely cool. I didn't have them pulled up, but I can pull up some of the Washington Red Wolves designs that I think that people have done a really good job with the potential logos.
I was going to say, though, I think, in all honesty, as much as I don't want anything to change, I'm more concerned about rumors that Dan Snyder is going to change away from the burgundy and gold to completely distance himself from the whole thing with the Native Americans and what they forced them into, that he's going to completely abandon the colors. And I don't know, it's a rumor, so I'm not saying it's true, but...
Yeah, I haven't heard that either. But there's so much crap going around right now of what, like, people are declaring that they already know what the team names are going to be. They already know what's going to happen. Like, I heard a crazy rumor, which this would absolutely be a travesty, which actually probably would not make me not a fan anymore, is some crazy potential move to Europe. Is what somebody posted on Twitter, that this is being considered. I'm a DC fan.
I'm going to tell you right now that as much as this is not going to happen, before I rooted for the Redskins or whatever they are in Europe, I would root for the Ravens, and that's never going to happen.
Yeah, like this is yeah, I'm a DC fan. Like, I like them because I'm local to here. Like, I'm a hometown fan. Like, that would be an utter disaster if that happened. But as I said, there's so many rumors going around that you can't trust anything until they actually come out. Like, that's why, like, this press release by the Redskins was so powerful. It's like, yeah, they actually are planning to retire the name. Like, they said it in an official press release statement. But like, people are like, oh, it's gonna be the Red Tails. Oh, it's gonna be the Warriors. Oh, it's the Red Wolves have been decided. I got a text from a buddy. Oh, the Redskins have changed their name to the Red Wolves. It's like, where'd you hear that? Oh, some podcast. Well, there's nothing anywhere saying that the name has been officially changed to the Red Wolves. But,
well, first of all, They have not changed the name yet.
They have not changed the name yet. That is a true statement.
And you know what? I'm a realist, but I'm also an optimist. I know I've already said it, but
Yeah,
all I'm going to say is they have not changed the name yet.
it's true.
We'll know it as soon as they do. And I'm not saying I don't believe it's going to happen, but I think Dan Snyder did a little,
Yes.
shot at the world of, yes, we're going to retire the Redskins, and upon our review, we're going to let you know. So they're still the Redskins, and as it stands right now, they're still likely to go into the 2020 season, whatever it is, as the Redskins. And something tells me, or something that makes me hopeful, is that if he can drag it on long enough to get through this BS that we're dealing with right now, then maybe, just maybe, he can come out the other side and say, you know what? Thought about changing it, but we're not changing it. And again, I'm not going to hold my breath over it. I'm not saying I believe it, but until it can happen, I'd say it could.
Yeah, what sucks is that I know where the next step is, and you could see how the league is trending with other stuff going on. I'm not going to go into details on that, but you can see how the league is trending, where it's it's almost a certainty. Okay, even if somehow we get through this with the name staying, then the league is going to threaten to kick us out, and the owners will vote it.
Next will be the Vikings.
Yeah. Well, the next is going to be the Indians, probably in baseball, but we'll see.
But
that's
not NFL's problem. But we have to take care of the Vikings and the Pirates and the Raiders and the Buccaneers, and that'll be the next thing, because
we'll go through them all.
Yep. So we'll handle that at a further time.
Yep.
But I see you pulled up another screen, and I just have to go. I just have to laugh.
Yep. All right. We'll go. All right. We're done with the names. No more name change talk. We're done. We're done here. Okay. We're done. All right. So
for this week.
Yes. A fun article came out from Pro Football Focus that Terry McLaurin is now ranked the number 1 receiver in the NFC East, according to Pro Football Focus. Over Amari Cooper. You agree or disagree?
I have no reason to disagree. I think that, again, Amari Cooper has been in the league, so we've seen what he can do. Mm-hmm. But this is a guy that I believe is taller. He's got great hands. He's got great potential. And so what's not to like, and why would I argue with that?
Well,
I don't know. I don't know what it's going to. I don't know what it's going to translate to on the field. What's that?
Oh, they're around the same height. Amari Cooper is 6'1", and Terry McLaurin 6 foot.
Oh, I thought McLaurin was taller than that. I'm sorry.
No, he's faster, much faster. I don't know what his Amari Cooper's 40 time was, but he's a much faster receiver. I guess you can't really say much faster, but Amari Cooper ran a 4.42 40-yard dash, and Terry McLaurin ran a 4.35. So Terry McLaurin's got him on speed.
And look, tracking the ball and his hands, the things we've seen in his rookie season, why wouldn't you think the upside is like, I mean, of course, it's all a guess. Yeah. So who knows?
I'm with you.
I have no reason to argue that.
If I had to pick between the two to be on my team today, I'm taking Terry because of that potential. And what I've seen, I love Terry McLaurin. Like, I think he's legit. And I've said multiple times before, I think he could be Antonio Brown without the crazy. Like, what Antonio Brown was on the field, I think that he can be this. But even with more tenacity, blocking, like, he's a willing blocker. Like, the guy is a hard worker. Antonio Brown was a hard worker, though, too. Like, Antonio Brown actually working and practicing, nobody's ever questioned that. Like, the dude's a
Yeah.
freak when it comes to learning the game of football, when it comes to working on the game of football. Like, he was extremely technical receiver, and I see Terry McLaurin being all of that, and maybe even a
Well,
little bit
and
more.
both of them, and I know we only got 1 year of Terry, but prior to all this crap, when did you ever hear anything from Antonio Brown? And last year from Terry McLaurin, I don't recall hearing anything. It was like, I'm here for football, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, and Terry McLaurin is fantastic. Like, him getting drafted, that video of him being on with the coach is fantastic. Like, you could just see that he is just a good, down to earth human being, like, ready to just come in and work. And it's I love everything I've seen about Terry McLaurin. But
Yep.
as of right now, I think Amari Cooper has done enough to say that he is the number one right now, today, in the NFC East. He has, I can pull up his stats, but Amari Cooper is a legit number one receiver in this league. And he had a great season last year. Last year he had 1,189 yards, 8 touchdowns, like averaging 15.1 per catch, 79 catches. Like, what he's done in his career, I think, has shown that he is a legit receiver and worthy of having the title as of today. But
I get that.
he needs to keep working if he wants to stay ahead of Terry, because Terry's
And
coming.
he came from the Giants, right?
No, he was with the he played on the Raiders beforehand.
He was never on the Giants.
No, you're thinking of Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham
Okay.
Jr. was the great receiver on the Giants. But now he's on the Cowboys.
Okay. Yeah.
And
good luck to them.
good luck to them. Um, and then they just got another beast receiver in CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is legit. And so they have a heck of a duo down there in Dallas.
Hey, we got Gandy Golden.
Gandy Golden. Yes, I like Gandy Golden. But somebody who we will not have this season is Kelvin Harmon. Kelvin Harmon has now come out that he has torn his ACL while training. He's got a picture of him in a hospital bed with his knee all sorts of wrapped up and being taken care of. We can show that. And
All right. I'm sorry. How do you do that practicing or training?
I don't know.
Tear an ACL? I mean, usually.
Wrong step?
What? Well, but my recollection of all torn ACLs are when your knee is bent the wrong way and weight comes in behind it.
Well, what's his name? Teddy Bridgewater messed up his knee on a bad plant of the leg. Like, you could be like running or twisting or whatever, like throwing, and then you land on your leg wrong and your knee bends the wrong way while moving weird. No, it definitely happens when you obviously it happens more in a contact situation like you're talking about. I mean, you're more likely to tear it. But think of RG3. RG3 didn't get hit when he tore his ACL.
No, his ACL I think was already banged up before he did that.
That's
he was
fine.
already barely walking. You even made the comment at the game that they need to take him out of there because he can't barely plant. And then his stuff was already messed up before he shifted or turned his leg the wrong way and ripped it. So I just didn't know.
Yeah, it was in a weakened state, but it still tore in a non-contact injury. But no, you could definitely tear your ACL without contact. But as I said, I mean, it's going to be more likely that it is torn with contact, because the more weight and more pressure, the more likely something's going to break. But you could definitely, in some sort of drill where you make a hard cut and your knee bends weird and it jacks it up, it's brutal.
Yeah.
I don't think he was doing anything stupid to get out. I mean, anything's possible. I have no clue. But I would take him in his word that he was training.
It's just unfortunate. And I love watching the fact that he's wearing a mask because...
Well, he's in a hospital right now. So
we're not going to go there. Every time I've ever been in the hospital, I've never worn a mask, but we're not going to go there. Come on, next subject.
Well, we don't have much more. I mean, that's. But what it does mean, I'll talk about with this. What it does mean, in my opinion, and unless we sign a new receiver, which we could look at the free agents right now, wide receiver free agents.
Wait, why do we have to sign another free agent?
Because if we want to bring in, if we want to bring in a veteran guy.
No, I like the guys we got. You know, Gandy Golden, McLaurin. What's the slot receiver? I'm drawing a blank.
Steve Sims.
Sims. Yep.
Steve Sims.
I think we're fine. I think, you know what? And yeah, if a bargain comes along, I'm not saying that I wouldn't consider it, but I want youth. I want people that have not been there, that want to prove themselves. That
you don't want Paul Richardson back?
Why? So you can sit on the bench for 9 games out of the. Was it even 9 games? I think it was more than that.
Yeah, we can see here who's available. But if we don't sign another guy, I'm going to say this is now the opportunity where your guy Cam Sims is next in line to make the team. I think Cam Sims has a legitimate chance of making the team now with 3 receivers going out that were ahead of him. With Cody Lattimore getting arrested, Kelvin Harmon tearing his ACL, and Emmanuel Hall tearing his Achilles, which I guess those are 3 receivers I had ahead of him. That with those 3 being out, like, he has a legitimate chance to show something, to be a receiver. But somebody that I'm looking at right off the bat is Josh Gordon.
What, you're going to bring Josh Gordon back?
Yeah, but because his problem was that he could not stop smoking. Like, he refused to give the marijuana up. Just absolutely refused. And so, with the league laxing on the marijuana rules, this could be a huge deal where you could still get fined for failing a drug test for marijuana, but you will not get suspended. So, as a team, who gives a crap's doo-doo if the player gets fined a bunch of money because he fails drug tests? If that means he's going to be on the field on Sunday, smoke it up. I don't care.
So what do you think it's going to cost him to get him?
You may be able to get him on some sort of a deal. Probably not much of a deal because we're not very good. So a team like the Seahawks would get him at a better deal than we could. But, I mean, you know, it might be risky, but throw $10 million at him, see what he does with it. You know, it sucks to pay that much money to a guy that's been out of the league for so long, but with all these receivers going down, and we have a bunch of cap space anyway, I mean, he could definitely be worth, has the potential to be worth more than that, to be honest. I mean, when this guy was in the league without the drug problems he was having, he was legit in Cleveland. I think he had did he have over a 1,500-yard season? I can look that up real quick. Hold on. I think he had a 1,500-yard season. So this could be an awesome opportunity to try to go get this guy. Let's see. His best season. Yeah, he had 1,646 yards and 9 touchdowns in one season in Cleveland.
Wait, what year was that?
2013.
All right, so how old is he? Like 30?
29.
31. Okay.
29. But yeah, then he just started having problems where it was like every season he was getting suspended.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Missed season for violation. Like, it's
Trent Williams.
Yeah, but as I said, who cares? Because the league is now, and after this season, you can't get suspended for a failed drug test of marijuana. You could still get it for PEDs or stuff like that.
So he'd line up opposite of McLaurin.
Yeah, And that could be a really, really good duo. I like Josh Gordon a lot.
And Sims in the slot.
Sims in the slot with Gandy Golden being the fourth, and then you also have
Yeah.
Trey Quinn on some situations. Like, yeah, it's not.
Hey, sometimes you do 4 wide receivers, and you put all 4 of them out there and make the defense try to cover them. I like it.
Yeah, looking at the rest of the free agents though, that's pretty much it. Stay away from Antonio Brown. I saw somebody post this on one of the Redskins fan pages I watch. Oh, now with Kelvin Harmon going down, I really didn't want to sign Antonio Brown, but now I'm considering it. No. No. No.
100%.
No. No. Just stop it. No.
On a scale of 1 to no,
he
it's a
is
no.
damaged goods. This guy is concussion ridden. Like the guy really should never play football again. I'm convinced at this point that he's lost his mind. He is deep stage CTE at this point. Like, get that man tested because he's probably severely brain damaged. But not even if he's not though. I mean, he's clearly addicted to social media. He does not give two craps about any teams in the NFL. Like, this guy is not a guy you want to bring in. Locker room cancer. It would be terrible for us to bring him in.
100%.
I don't like it. But Josh
100%.
Gordon is somebody that I would definitely be looking at. And Tyler Gabriel, if he's still around, he wasn't bad for the Bears.
Yep.
That's
I know more
interesting.
about Josh Gordon than I do about him, but
I know, because you don't do fantasy much more anymore.
I don't do it at all anymore. So
He's never had big seasons, but I think, like, what size is he? Oh, God. He's tiny. Holy moly. He's 5'7", 168 pounds.
Santana Moss, right?
Is that how it was? Santana Moss that small? I think he was 5'9".
No, he wasn't that. Yeah, he wasn't that small, but he was going in that direction.
Santana Moss.
Or wait, what's the Philly? We had him for a while. I can't think of his
He's
name.
5'10". Darren Sproles.
No,
the
the
super tiny
wide
one?
receiver that played for us for a while and went back to Philly. I'm drawing.
Oh,
a blank.
Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, he's not that. How tall is Deshaun Jackson?
5'9", probably.
Yeah, he's short, but he's fast and he's slippery.
5'10", 175 pounds.
Yeah.
They're about the same weight. Tyler Gabriel and Deshaun Jackson. Tyler Gabriel was 173 at 5'7". But yeah, that's a tiny dude. Yeah, I wouldn't want him.
He'd be able to sneak through the defense. They wouldn't even see him.
Yeah,
because they're looking up too high.
for real. Yeah, that's about all I'm interested in. But anyway, all right.
We got our bitch session out.
Yep.
We did not solve the naming issue.
Nope. I can't wait for football to just come back. Just please come back. Like, I want to talk about actually sports. Like, I want football to come back so bad.
Yep.
Let's
100%.
Bring football back. Hashtag bring football back. Please don't let Corona, please do not let Corona stop the NFL season this season. We want football. Thank you.
All right. Amen.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for watching till the end. You guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down on the video. Anything that you have, any thoughts, please comment down there. We're interested in what you guys want to say. Thank you for watching to the end, and we will see you.
All right. See ya.